And now, What's My Line? Brought to you by Stop at Spray Deodorant. Poof, there goes perspiration. Poof Deodorant Body Powder, the body powder you spray. The Nest Shampoo, the new flowing cream shampoo. All in the first truly functional cosmetic containers, far easier to use. All created by Dr. Jules Montagnier, the famous cosmetic chemist. Time now to enjoy What's My Line?
And now, let's meet our What's My Line panel of well-known personalities whose lines you already know. First, back from her Paris vacation, the popular columnist whose voice of Broadway appears in the New York Journal American and papers coast to coast, Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
And on my left, the most charming boulevardier this side of the Champs-Élysées, Mr. Bennett Cerf.
Wow. Nice to have you back, Dorothy. On my left is the Queen Bee of Manhattan, the Bronx, and Queens. She'll tell you about the other boroughs herself. Miss Arlene Francis.
I know the boroughs to which you referred, too. And on my left, substituting for Hal Block, is a very distinguished panelist, the co-author of Guys and Dolls, and a very nice guy himself, as any doll would know, Mr. Abe Burrows.
And here's a fellow whose picture's on a back cover, I think it's the back, yeah, that's you on the back cover of Quick magazine this week. It's John Daly.
Thank you. Good night, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to What's My Line. And it's always, as usual, presented by Stop It, and we have a rather special welcome tonight for station WEWS-TV in Cleveland, Ohio. We're happy to welcome them to our What's My Line Sunday night family. Once again, we're going to have some folks who've come to visit us from many parts of the United States with unexpected, we hope, the kind of varied occupations that will give my friends in the panel some trouble so that our contestants can carry home some prizes. We'll also have a famous guest challenger before the panel a bit later in the program, but now it's time for the experts to meet our first challenger whose job they've got to spot. So will you sign in, please, sir?
Henry Byers. Henry Byers. Is that right, sir? Well, suppose you tell us, first of all, where you live.
Des Moines, Iowa.
Des Moines, Iowa. Well, it's nice of you to have come all the way from Iowa to see us, and I hate to make you take another trip, but would you be good enough to walk down in front of the panel for me?
May I see your hands, please?
My wife told me you'd want to see those.
Well, she was right.
I'm glad to see her back on the program.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Byers, you come on over here now, if you will, and sit down next to me, and on the basis of that fine, firm handwriting of yours, the trip you've made from Iowa, and the quick look that our friends on the panel have had at you, we give them at this point one free guess as to what your line may be. And we'll begin the free guesses with a returnee from Paris, Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
Well, I think Mr. Byers is an expert on soil conservation.
Oh, that French accent's giving you trouble. Expert on
can't
soil
get back into
conservation. Mr. Cerf.
I think this boulevardier from Des Moines is the city editor of the Des Moines Register.
City editor, Miss Francis.
I think he has something to do with printing money.
You do?
Very successful.
Mr. Burrows.
I think he makes crying towels for Giants fans.
No, I'm afraid nobody has the right answer. We'll let our viewers at home have a further look at Mr. Byers. At the same time, we'll tell them what his line is. But, Mr. Byers, the panel has got to dig. Every time that you can give the members of the panel a no answer, cost them $5, we'll keep the record up here, 10 no's or $50, and you've won the game. One more bit of help for the panel. Mr. Byers is self-employed. With that, let's begin the general questioning with Mr. Cerf.
Mr. Byers, is there a product involved in what you do?
Yes.
Is it a product that I would like?
Yes.
Would my wife, Phyllis, sitting in the front row, have any use for that product?
Yes.
You think she'd like it if I gave it to her as a present?
Very much.
That gets me nowhere. She likes anything for a present. Would she like it even better if I gave her a pair of these things?
Certainly.
Is the product you are involved with, Mr. Byers, reasonably expensive? Let's say more than $10, worth more than $10?
Yes.
Yes.
Worth more than $11?
Yes.
Well, is it very valuable?
Yes.
Worth more than, say, $1,000?
Yes.
It is.
Yeah.
See, something my wife would like a pair of and is worth more than $1,000.
You know, Christmas is coming up, Bennett. You're getting yourself in a lot of trouble,
I know. Is this something, if I did get a pair of them for Mr. Byers, might she hang one in each ear?
No, that would be one down and 9 to go, Miss Francis.
Well, if there were a pair of them, could the pair possibly be male and female?
No.
I was thinking of chinchilla, John.
Yes, I was. Oh, I know what you're thinking of. 2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Burrows.
These products, I gather, are inanimate.
Inanimate, yes.
Are they manufactured?
No.
3 down and 7 to go. Very sorry, Mr. Burrows.
Oh, I'm sorry, too.
Miss Kilgallen.
Well, if they're not manufactured, do they grow?
Do they grow?
Yes.
You mean like... Well, no. That's 4 down and 6 to go, Mr. Cerf.
They neither grow nor... Well, do they come, by any chance, out of the ground?
No.
Do they come out of the ground?
Well, would they be mined, I mean?
Mined?
Yeah.
Did you say mined?
I know, no.
5 down and 5 to go. All right, that's Miss Fritz.
They don't come out of, they're not mined, they're not grown, they're not live, they're not... Goodness. Well, is it something that is extracted in any way out of the elements?
Well, to the degree that almost everything is in one
Just wanted
way
to get
or
a yes
another.
answer, didn't care what I said.
You got it.
Is this product, whatever it is it used at all? Would our War Department, for example, be interested in this product?
No, I don't think so.
Well, I would say this. May I have a small conference with Mr. Byers?
Uh-huh.
All right, we said then. We have agreed in a committee session that it is probably an incidental activity of the War Department to come in some way in contact with this product. Yes.
Well, and our government can afford it, too, at $1,000 apiece. Is it something that would ever be found in a person's home?
No, not this one. No, I don't think. 6 down. I'd like to find a few in my home, but I don't. All right, 6 down and 4 to go, Mr. Burrows.
I've come to the conclusion that this is very difficult.
It is.
Now, is this product, when you say it's worth 1,000, is it worth the money you intrinsically or because of what it represents?
I beg your pardon, Mr. Burrows. Is it worth the money intrinsically or...
Is it worth, you know, for instance, I'll show you a check of mine for $1,000,
Yeah.
which is worth $200. But
No, I understand what you mean.
is the product valuable because of its own value or because it represents something?
Well, I would say that everything, since, after all, if we go back to the days of we used to exchange produce, this has
I'm
a
not that old.
representative value.
I don't go back with you, kid.
I would say this, it would have no value as a product if it wasn't worth $1,000 in substantial and basic terms. Does that confuse you at all?
Yes.
Good, fine, go on from there.
Then your answer is that it has value in itself, yes.
It has equity. It has an equity position which is
All right.
transferable into, shall we
Right.
say, negotiable
Now,
assets.
Is this value that it has because of the fact that something or someone is backing it up, or because as against its peculiar value as a thing?
This may be your last appearance on What's My Line.
The first time a fellow ever got a yes and no.
Let me put it this way. The thing is valuable by and of itself as a term of reference to its basic existence. I can be just as confusing as you can.
All right, I'll be generous and accept that as an equivocal answer. Now, is it something that is valuable because there is written or printed material on it?
On it? That would be 7 down and 3 to go.
Not on it.
You said on it, Miss Kilgallen.
Under it.
Is this a tangible thing? This thing that's worth more than $1,000?
It has tangible qualities, and it has values which could be called intangible.
Well, you're slipping around like a Roseland dancer.
I have to on this one, Abe. I have nowhere to go.
Is there anything creative about what Mr. Byers does?
You mean creative in the artistic sense?
I mean creative in any sense.
That's a girl.
Just a moment. I have a conference. No. We've had 8 down and 2 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Mr. Byers, I'm going to ask you a question, unlike Abe Burrows, that you can answer with a yes or no. Has your product got anything to do, whatever, with the budgetary or monetary system?
Yes.
Are you, would you qualify, you look too kind for this, as some kind of a banker?
No, well, actually, we'd have to say no to the banker. That's right. Miss Francis.
You'd have to say no to the banker.
Yeah. 9 down and 1 to go.
It's nice to say no to a
Could we
banker.
have a fast conference?
15 seconds for a
What
conference.
don't you say no to a banker?
Well, I wouldn't say no to anybody who had anything to do with a mint or making
But I
money.
guessed that in the wild guess.
Oh, you did? No,
Yeah.
no
Said he
place?
printed
No.
money, possibly.
No.
Oh, well,
No.
what,
No, he doesn't.
Maybe he's,
investment?
is he self-employed? I forgot.
Yes, he's self-employed.
Yes, he's self-employed.
Would you
couldn't be the
have,
mint
do you
thing.
have a concern?
Well, to the extent he's self-employed, he has a corporate entity
Does
being...
the product involved, or the end product involved, would it in any way be considered an investment? Is it something you might put in a safe?
In a safe. I don't think you could put it... Actually, that's a tough one, but I'm going to give you a no answer on it. Actually, Mr. Byers is the toughest I think we've ever had. He buys and sells banks. He moves in, buys control of a bank merely
Well,
for the
what is
purpose
his
of selling it
telephone
to
number?
somebody else.
You might say he was a banker, John, if he buys and
Well,
sells
actually, I
banks.
think, but you see, actually, he isn't.
He's a
And I
negotiator.
think the general terminology we know, although officially it could never be described, so he's a broker. But it would not be allowed under banking laws to call him a broker. Actually, he buys banks and he sells banks.
He's a bank
But he's
broker.
not a banker, he's a bank broker, to use the term loosely. Brother. Well, you have won the full prize. We certainly had a lot of fun. We're glad you came to see us. What's my life? Well, panel, let's see what you can do with another challenger. Will you come in and sign in, challenger, please? Jane Schmall, is that right? Good to see you. I'm going to put my hand in my pocket. Can you tell us where you live?
Yes, Chicago, Illinois.
Chicago.
Right.
Oh, well, good. Nice to have you there. Our friends in the panel have just had a real rough time, so go easy on them, but take a little walk down there, would you, please?
What a pity Hal Block isn't here tonight.
What's the matter with me?
All right, Miss Schmall, will you come over here and sit down, please? And on the basis of your handwriting, as you probably know, and the quick look that our friends have had at you, the fact that you come from Chicago, at this point we give them a free guess as to what your line may be. We begin the free guesses, as usual, with Miss Kilgallen.
I think she's the head of a beauty salon.
A beauty salon, Mr. Cerf.
And she works in the pump room.
Miss Francis.
I think she has something to do with information, but I don't know what it is.
Mr. Burrows.
Well, if it's Chicago, I think she goes with Hal Block.
No, I'm afraid nobody's right about that. All right, we'll let our viewers at home have a further look at Miss Schmall, and at the same time we'll tell them what her line is, but the panel's got to dig. You heard me explain the rules. Every time you can give the members in the panel a no answer, it'll cost them 5. We keep the record up here. 10 no's, you've won the game. All right, we'll give them one more bit of help. Miss Schmall is salaried. With that, we'll begin general questioning with Miss Francis.
Do you deal in services, Miss Schmall?
Yes, I do.
And do people come to you for your services?
Yes.
And are they better off? Are they happier because of your services?
Oh, very much.
Do you change these people in any way?
You mean, would you give us a term of reference there?
Well, I mean, do they come in one way and go out another way?
Very good. Now, would you give us a term of reference, please?
Well,
I mean, is their physical appearance changed by her administration?
I didn't mean that, no, John. I just meant that supposing I came in tired and unhappy and frustrated, and I saw Miss Schmall, and she enlivened my spirits and made me feel better, and therefore I looked better. Would that happen? I'm getting like Abe Burrows. I told you it was going to be terrible.
Well, actually, I would say this, that anybody who gets the full benefit of the service that is available when they come to see Miss Schmall would feel better, yes.
I see. Do you touch these people in any way, Miss Schmall?
Yes.
Do you deal with both sexes?
No.
That's 1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Burrows.
Now, do you, you never got an answer. Do you improve the appearance of these people? No, you did get an answer.
Yes.
I don't want to get trapped into that. Do you instruct or advise these people in any way?
Yes.
Are these people instruct and advise? What does that mean, instruct and advise?
Teach.
Are these people over grammar school age?
Yes.
Under certain circumstances, would I be likely to come to you for advice and instruction?
It's possible.
I want everybody to know I write all my own material. Are your clients adults?
Yes.
All adults?
Yes.
Do they have something in common?
Yes.
Do you work in what would roughly be described as an institution?
Yes.
Did these people do something that causes them to be brought to this institution?
Yes.
I must take cognizance, Mr. Burrows, if you will excuse me, to the choice of verb. You said cause them to be brought to this institution. On that wording, I would have to give you a no answer. That would be 2 down and 8 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Miss Schmall, do you require special training for your job?
Yes, of a sort, yeah.
Is your job something that also could be performed by a man?
He'd be under something of a handicap, but a man could do it, I think, in extremis, don't you? You mean you have doubts? It could be done. It could be done.
But it's more likely that someone like Miss Schmall would do it.
Yes.
Are the adults that Miss Schmall deals with chiefly ladies? No.
3 down and 7 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Miss Schmall, I take it then that the people you deal with are men. Are these men who by any chance are approaching a state of fatherhood?
Yes.
Do you teach them how to take on the duties of a father, such as how to diaper children, that sort of thing?
Yes, Mr. Stone.
What do you know?
Teaches a class of expectant fathers. Congratulations,
And I
Bennett.
must take issue with you on the brought to, because expectant fathers would have to be dragged to a thing like that.
Well, Miss Small, you did only fairly well with the prizes, but we certainly hope that you enjoyed yourself. Nice to have you with us. Good night. Good to see you. Now, in just a moment, ladies and gentlemen, we'll introduce our mystery guest. But first, here's a mystery that solves itself right before your eyes. And now we come to the regular special feature of our program, or rather the special or a regular feature of the program. That is the appearance of our mystery celebrity. My friends on the panel would recognize our guest on sight, so we've provided them with blindfolds. Are they all in place, panel?
Yes.
Yes.
Will you come out then, mystery challenger, and sign in, please? Now will you come over here and sit down next to me? Panel, as you know, in the case of our mystery challenger, we dispense with all of the usual preliminaries, get right down to the general questioning, which we will begin with Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
Are you accustomed to appearing before the public?
Yes.
Are you in what is loosely termed the entertainment business?
Yes.
Is it something other than, let's say, movie acting?
Yes.
Is it sports?
Yes.
Are you in seasonal sport?
Yes.
Is it in season now?
Yes.
Are you a baseball player?
No.
1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Is what you do connected in any way with baseball?
Yes.
Are you going to play a not inconspicuous part in the forthcoming World Series between the Yanks and the Dodgers?
Yes.
Are you going to owe your allegiance, I hope, to the Yankees?
No.
2 down and 8 to go, Miss Francis.
Well, in that case, I'm afraid this is kind of a cinch for me. You are behind the scenes. May one consider that you are behind the scenes in baseball and that while you do not play, you perhaps manage?
Yes.
If you are not loyal to the Yankees, are you loyal to the Dodgers?
Yes.
And did you write an article in the Post that said they weren't going to blow it this time?
Yes.
And are you Chuck Dressen?
Yes.
Don't take him off. Wait a minute. Actually, Mr. Dressen, this is my fault. I should have sent word to you to disguise your voice. They're getting so smart now, if you don't disguise the voice, they know you didn't come from Hollywood.
Let me say this. I'm very disappointed that Miss Kilgallen didn't know all about me, because I think before she made her trip over in Europe, she had an article in her paper, and it seemed that she knew more about managing the club than I did, because I met her father out in Pittsburgh about 2 weeks before this article appeared in her column. And I think that if I'm correct in saying that she mentioned that there was some trouble between a certain player and myself.
There wasn't?
Well, I don't remember it, but I'm a fan anyway.
The only trouble I have is with the other players.
Well, actually, we hope you don't have any trouble with the World Series. And thanks very much for coming to see us.
Wait a minute. We don't all hope that at all.
Mr. Chuck Dressen. Thank you very much. Chuck Dressen, the manager of the Brooklyn Dodgers. And now, let's see, we have about 3 minutes left. Let's see what we can do with another challenger. Will you sign in, please, sir?
Next week, I hope you get Casey's thanks.
Yes, you really eliminated that right.
O.A. Cargill III, is that right? How are you? What is your first name? Arthur, is that the A? Is the A for Arthur?
That's right.
Arthur Cargill. Now, where are you from, Mr. Cargill?
Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
Well, time is very short, so what I'd like you to do is to walk right down in front of the panel, walk right back again. Don't stop for a second.
Oklahoma City, you said, Mr. Cargill?
All right, Mr. Cargill, right back here and sit down next to me. And on the basis of that very quick walk and the fact that you did a masterful job of writing your name with your left hand while standing on your head, which is what it practically consisted of, we'll see what they can do with a free guess. We'll begin the free guesses with Miss Kilgallen.
I think he runs oil wells.
Mr. Cerf.
I think he found oil in the state capitol grounds.
Miss Francis.
I think he has something to do with the Indian reservations.
Mr. Burrows.
I don't know what he does, but if he's a lefty, Dressen can use him.
No, I'm afraid nobody has it right. We'll let our viewers at home have a further look at Mr. Cargill. At the same time, we'll tell them what his line is. But the panel has got to work. Mr. Cargill, you know how to play the game. Every no answer. We'll keep the record up here. $5, 10 no's, you've won the game. We'll give them one more bit of help. Mr. Cargill is salaried. It's very tough, and we'll begin the general questioning with Mr. Burrows.
Are the services connected with your work?
Yes.
Are these very widespread services? I mean, a lot of people.
No.
Not a lot of people, no.
What do you mean a lot? I meant 5, 6 people.
Yeah, you had it. 1 down, 9 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Does your work require a special aptitude?
No.
2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Is the fact that you're young helpful to you in what work that you do?
No.
Well, we'll give you a qualified. I would say that youth and endurance is helpful. You go ahead, Mr. Cerf.
Do you have to use physical dexterity in any way in what you do?
Yes.
Is it a kind of manual work that you do?
Yes.
Do you work outdoors?
Yes.
Is it any connection whatever with the oil industry?
No.
3 down and 7 to go, Miss Francis.
If you work outdoors, does it have anything to do at all with the animal industry?
Yes.
Animal? It does. You deal in some way with livestock?
Yes.
Is it a 4-legged animal?
Yes.
Is it an animal I would have in the house?
No.
Actually, time has run out, and I'm very glad because I just want to see you with a big buffalo right in your house. Mr. Cargill is a buffalo rancher, and our time has run out, so he wins the full prize by default. Thank you very much, Mr. Cargill, for being our guest on What's My Line. It's nice to have seen you, sir. Good night. Good to see you. And now, in just a moment, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to give you a preview look at one of our guests whose line our panel is going to be asked to try and identify on next week's program. But first, let's listen in on a little gossip. And next week at this same time, our panel of experts will be asked, what's my line by this man? Would you know his occupation? Could you spot his line? For the answers to these and a good many other questions, be sure to tune in again next Sunday night at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, when once again Stopette invites you to play What's My Line. For other localities, check your local listings for the date and time of our weekly series. Until then, this is John Daly saying good night, Dorothy.
Good night, Bennett, and have a nice trip to North Carolina.
Thanks, Dorothy. Good night, Arlene. Root for the Yanks, in spite of Dressen.
Good night, Abe. Nice to have had you with us.
Thank you. Good night, John. See you again.
Good night. Nice to have you with us, Abe. And good night, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for being with us on What's My Line?